The Addams Family has been one of the most unique and lasting families in American pop culture, standing out across generations as a celebration of the weird, the dark, and the delightfully unconventional. From their origins in single-panel cartoons to TV screens, movies, and streaming hits, the Addams have always done things in their own way, and that's exactly what has made them so important. Created by cartoonist Charles Addams in 1938 for The New Yorker, the original Addams Family was never named, never fully explained, and only existed as reoccurring macabre humor pieces. They weren't even officially called the Addams Family until the 1964 television series gave them names, personalities, and a proper home address. That classic black and white TV show brought Gomez, Morticia, Wednesday, Pugsley, Uncle Fester, Grandmama, Lurch, and Thing to life in a way audiences had never seen. Instead of mocking or fearing the dark and strange, the Addams embraced it with love, style, and humor. They flipped the script on what a normal American family was supposed to be. In a decade filled with squeaky clean sitcoms like Leave It to Beaver and The Donna Reed Show, the Addams Family stood in stark, glorious contrast. Their house was gloomy, their hobbies were morbid, and their values were anything but mainstream. And yet, they were the most loving and united family on television. Gomez and Morticia were passionately in love, a rare sight for married couples on TV at the time. Their children were curious and independent. Their household was full of acceptance and support. They were strange, yes, but also kind, loyal, and completely free from judgment. That contradiction is what made them powerful. They represented the idea that being different wasn't something to hide, it was something to celebrate. As the 1960s rolled on, the Addams Family show developed a cult following. It only ran for 2 seasons, but its impact lasted far beyond that. Reruns kept it alive, and the characters remained recognizable long after the original series ended. The Addams became cultural symbols, their gothic style, deadpan humor, and spooky charm standing in for anyone who felt like they didn't quite fit into society's mold. They offered an early and rare example of a family that didn't just tolerate eccentricity, but thrived on it. Then came the movies of the early 1990s, which brought the family back into the spotlight in a big way. The Addams Family in 1991 and Addams Family Values in 1993 took the characters in a darker, funnier, and more stylized direction, while keeping their core values intact. Raul Julia and Angelica Houston redefined Gomez and Morticia with incredible chemistry and elegance. Christina Ricci's Wednesday became an icon for a new generation, her deadpan delivery and dark wit making her a standout symbol of youth rebellion and individuality. These films expanded the reach of the Addams Family into theaters and reinforced their place in pop culture. They weren't just a nostalgic throwback, they were a fresh, edgy alternative to the sugary family films of the era. They proved that a story about a strange, spooky family could still feel relevant, relatable, and even wholesome in its own way. The Addams never fit in, and that was the whole point. They didn't want to. And millions of viewers loved them for it. The influence of the Addams Family can be seen in fashion, comedy, and the growing cultural embrace of the gothic and macabre. Wednesday Addams alone inspired generations of girls and women who saw in her a role model of quiet strength, intelligence, and refusal to conform. She wasn't bubbly or overly expressive. She liked the dark and the morbid. She asked hard questions and challenged authority. And she was never punished for it. She was allowed to be exactly who she was, and that mattered. The family as a whole also subverted traditional family dynamics. Morticia and Gomez had one of the healthiest, most romantic relationships ever shown on screen. Unlike the constant bickering of couples in other sitcoms, they adored each other. Their love was playful, intense, and mutual. They raised their children to be curious, brave, and open-minded. They didn't push their kids to be normal, they just let them be. This message resonated deeply with people who grew up feeling like outsiders. Whether it was because of how they looked, what they liked, who they loved, or what they believed, fans of the Addams Family saw something familiar and comforting in that old haunted house. They saw people who were different, but not broken, strange, but not wrong, just themselves. The Addams gave them permission to stop apologizing for who they were. In addition to their symbolic power, the Addams Family has had a direct impact on the entertainment industry. Their success helped pave the way for other oddball shows and characters. Without the Addams Family, it's hard to imagine shows like The Munsters, movies like Beetlejuice, characters like Edward Scissorhands, or even The Nightmare Before Christmas becoming mainstream hits. They opened a cultural door that allowed weirdness to become part of the mainstream. They made spooky cool. They made the strange familiar. And they did it with humor, grace, and charm. In more recent years, the family has once again returned to popularity thanks to reboots and reinterpretations. Animated films in 2019 and 2021 introduced the Addams to a new generation of kids, keeping the core traits of the characters intact while updating the visuals for modern audiences. And of course, the biggest recent development came with the Netflix series Wednesday in 2022. Starring Jenna Ortega as a teenage Wednesday Addams, the show became a massive global hit. It took the character into a coming-of-age story, complete with a new setting, new challenges, and a modern twist on the familiar darkness. Ortega's portrayal honored the classic Wednesday while making her more layered and emotional. The show broke streaming records, sparked viral dance trends, and introduced a whole new generation to the Addams Family legacy. Suddenly, Wednesday Addams was trending on TikTok. People were dressing like her, dancing like her, and talking about her again. The Addams had done what few pop culture creations ever managed to do. They stayed relevant across 8 decades, and they did it without ever changing who they were. Part of the reason for their staying power is that they've always felt timeless. They aren't tied to one cultural moment or trend. Their clothes, their home, their interests are all deliberately out of step with the times. And yet, they always reflect something important about the world around them. They show us what it looks like to be yourself in a world that wants you to fit in. They show how to find joy and meaning in the things that others might find odd or scary. They show us that family doesn't have to look like everyone else's to be strong, loving, and real. Their humor also plays a big role in their appeal. The Addams Family is funny, not because they're being laughed at, but because they see the world differently. They find joy in the strange, and they're not afraid to say what they think. Their jokes often turn normal ideas upside down, poking fun at society's obsession with appearances, politeness, and conformity. It's a kind of humor that's clever, subversive, and timeless. Even when the world changes, the Addams still make us laugh. And laugh with them, not at them. Their visual style has also become iconic. The long black dresses, pinstripe suits, pale skin, and haunted mansion aesthetic are instantly recognizable. The Addams Family look has become a shorthand for gothic, spooky, and classy. Costume designers, fashion brands, and Halloween enthusiasts return to their style year after year because it never goes out of style. It's elegant, simple, and bold. It says something without needing to scream. Even beyond pop culture, the Addams Family's message of acceptance and individuality has found its way into classrooms, discussions of family dynamics, and conversations about identity. Teachers have used episodes and clips to talk about diversity and tolerance. Psychologists have pointed to the Addams as examples of positive family relationships that defy stereotypes. They're not just fictional characters, they're symbols. They're reminders that there's no such thing as normal, that love and support matter more than appearances, that humor and weirdness are strengths, not flaws, and that families can look all kinds of ways and still be strong. The Addams Family's importance goes far beyond their spooky charm. They've carved out a permanent place in the cultural landscape because they offer something rare. They offer honesty without cruelty, difference without shame, and love without limits. They remind us that it's okay to be strange, to love what we love, and to live outside the mold. In a world that often pressures people to act, look, and think a certain way, the Addams stand tall as a proud, spooky beacons of freedom. They survive for over 85 years, and they show no signs of going away. Because as long as there are people who feel like they don't quite fit in, there will always be a place for the Addams Family. They are, and always will be, the first family of the delightfully different. And that's what makes them so important. Like, comment, and subscribe for daily history and culture content.